What's going on, people? Welcome to the channel. As you have probably seen in the last week or so, United are looking at a player called Ederson from Atalanta in the central midfield, defensive midfield position. That really key position that we're looking for, actually. And to be honest, before the stories broke, I hadn't really even looked into Ederson before. I hadn't really heard about him, but don't worry, guys. I've looked at all the compilation videos on YouTube, and now I can give you a defining answer. No, I'm just kidding. No, I cannot give you a defining answer because it's impossible to. It's impossible to give you a defining answer about someone just watching them in videos. I mean, this guy is coming from Italy. If he does join us, he'll be coming from Italy and coming to the Premier League, which is a whole different kettle of fish when it comes to playing football. It's a lot more physical in the Premier League. It's a lot more fast-paced. Italy is a lot more slower-paced, and if you're a defensive midfielder, there's a lot of things that are going to take you by surprise when it comes to playing in the Premier League. So, no, there's no way of telling how good he would be. From what I've seen of him since I've been looking into him, he seems pretty strong. He seems pretty robust, which is important in the Premier League. I think in recent years we've probably focused too much on technical players at Man United, and a lot of our players just get bullied off the ball. They don't have that just raw ability just to throw people around and bully people, and we do need a player like that in midfield because we've got Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo is one of those technical players. He's not the strongest of players, Kobbie Mainoo, although he does, I'd say for his size, he probably makes up for it in sort of attitude and sort of just going for it. He does have a good attitude in that respect, and he does win a lot of balls. But yeah, we just need one of those players that kind of is strong and doesn't allow people to easily knock him off the ball and lose possession. And yeah, from what I've seen of him, he does look pretty strong. But again, it's a different league. Like it's all good being strong, and it's all good being having that strength to win the ball back. But if the pace isn't there, and the pace in the Premier League is very high, like, is he just going to get completely caught out, like, with the breakneck speed of the Premier League? Is that what's going to happen? There's a chance that could happen as well. But we've seen players from Italy come to United. Lukaku came back from Italy, did not do much in the Premier League. He went back to Italy and he did well again. Højlund as well came to England, did absolutely nothing, went back to Italy. Played a lot better and looked like a sort of a lot better of a player, especially with Kevin De Bruyne behind him, which I guess you could argue is potentially one of the reasons like those players get better, because United have been in a hole. So it's sometimes you need a good team around a player to show you, to see how good they are, you know. But again, I think sometimes you can see with certain players it's just not going to work out, because if you look at Bruno Fernandes, for instance, even in a shit team, he's been brilliant, hasn't he? So, yeah, there's kind of not being able to be at your best, and then there's not trying to be at your best because you're kind of letting the environment get to you, if you like. But yeah, is he going to be Casemiro's replacement? Like, is this guy going to be good enough to be Casemiro's replacement? I mean, Casemiro's a hard act to follow in the he might not have been the best player throughout his period at United. Like, he had a good, like I said in my last video, he had a good period at the start, and then this season he's kind of come on strong again. He kind of dipped in the middle. Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's kind of Casemiro's. Well, his sort of the outline of how his form for us. But yeah, he's a very hard player to follow, and I think a lot of people are kind of jumping the gun a bit when it comes to an unknown player. Like, if it's not a player they've heard of on social media, or it's not a player they've seen in the headlines, or people have bigged up before, people just kind of immediately dismiss a player like it's like some sort of signing you shouldn't make. For some reason, people think you should make signings of players that are constantly talked about and are always in the news and always have always have like hype surrounding them, which for Man United, I guess, is a thing that you can do. But I mean, we've tried to do that before and it hasn't worked as well. So I think sometimes you just have to buy the player. And the other question is like, if with Ederson, like he's probably going to be cheaper, but if we need 5 players and we've only got a budget of 300 million, are you going to want to buy sort of 3 players for that amount of money, or are you going to want to buy 5 players, 6 players for that amount of money? I think as United we need probably 6 or 5 or 6. We don't need 3. We need 5 or 6. So yeah, I think a player like Ederson would work in that respect. But yeah, his stats wise, his defensive stats are good, which those are the most important things, aren't they? He's a good passing wise. From what I've looked at, I think he's had a little bit of a dip this season, but he was pretty good like a couple of seasons ago. Goals wise, he doesn't really score much, and yeah, I mean, I've seen people saying, "Oh, what?" Like he's absolutely shite because he doesn't score goals. I mean, it's a central midfielder, defensive midfielder. That's not what you need in a defensive midfielder or a central midfielder. Look at Declan Rice. Declan Rice has scored 4 goals this season, and he's arguably the best defensive midfielder, or well, defensive to attacking midfielder in the world. So yeah, you don't need goals. You don't need goals to be an absolutely impactful player and be a brilliant player in a team. You just need to be good at what your job is, and his job for us would probably be central midfield and defensive midfield, and that's more about positioning, awareness, tackling, maybe decent at passing as well, just to play the ball out from the back and be part of the ball-up play. Those are the things that are important in a defensive midfielder, central midfielder. You don't really need to look at goals. It's more how they're impacting the game as a whole and how they're retaining possession for the team. And yeah, those are the things you need to look at. And he seems pretty decent for those things. But yeah, like I said, he's not someone I've watched a lot. I've watched a lot of compilation videos of him in the last few days, and yeah, there's not much you can tell from those. You can only judge that on the league he's in. You can't judge that on like how he's going to do in the Premier League. So yeah, the question is, can he fill Casemiro's boots? Would he be able to fill Casemiro's boots if he came into the team? And that's the most important thing. It's finding a player that's decent enough to do that. And who knows, we might not. We might have to find 2 players who make up like one Casemiro. I mean, I'd like to see us go out and spend a lot of money on one player, but like Elliot Anderson or something. But yeah, it might not be realistic. It might not be realistic if we need like a lot of depth in our team, because you've seen with squad rotation, like at the end of the season with Carrick, we drop off a lot as soon as we start making changes. So we do need a lot of players. We do need a lot of players to come in. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on Ederson potentially coming into the team. I think I'm not against the signing. I think you have to look at the recent signings we've made and maybe go a little bit on that in terms of how they've worked out. And I think Cunha's been good, and Mbomo's been good. Dorgu's been good. Yeah, Lemons has been good. So the recent signings we've made have been very good. So you have to kind of look at that and say, well, yeah, it's not a player that we know about, but there's potential there. There could be potential there. But the only thing I'll say about him is he hasn't played in the Premier League. Like Mbomo and Cunha have played in the Premier League, but Dorgu hasn't either. Dorgu didn't play in the Premier League, and he was a good player. And Lemons has come in and he's been brilliant. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But it's not guaranteed yet. I mean, we could find out next week that it's not even going to happen. It wasn't even true. So that's how it is with Man United transfer windows, isn't it? So yeah, that's all I've got to say. I'll be back for a review of the game after tomorrow. So see you then. And yeah, that's all my thoughts.